Ryan, how do you like my piece of art? I made it especially for you.
Judy, it's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
And we made something especially for you, a new episode of Garden Time. Welcome to Garden Time. Don't forget to mark your calendars for the second weekend in June for the Artisan Weekend at Wavre Farms. Join them on Thursday and Friday nights for a special event and check out their website for more information.
And also coming up in the show today, we'll be talking about pests and how to take care of them.
We'll also be talking about ice cream flavors from your garden.
But coming up first, Jan's tips of the month. Well, it's time for Tips with Jan and Jan. So it's middle of May, but we have had record-breaking rain, record-breaking cool. So let's start at the beginning because everybody's so excited about vegetable gardening. So what's going on?
Well, this is my vegetable garden right here.
I don't see any plants.
No, just seed packets. I've planted peas and lettuce, and the potatoes are out there, and, but I haven't done any other seeds yet because they'll just sit and rot.
So what's the latest you've ever, as a veteran gardener, the latest you've ever put in, like, say, tomatoes or things like that?
June 22nd.
And then what happened?
Nothing. I mean, not that they didn't grow, but they actually, by the time, if somebody put them in mid-April or early May, and I put them in June, by September, you wouldn't know the difference.
So you're still going to get fruit?
Oh, absolutely.
And so we didn't really miss anything because the weather was so bad and nothing really struggled.
Right. And we're also anxious to get out there and do something. So, I don't know, maybe over Memorial Day weekend, it might be nice enough that I can get out and get it going.
Yeah, and if you didn't start seeds, there's still lots of starts at garden centers
sure.
you can get.
Yeah.
So really, it's not too late. And this is a veteran person talking, and so she's got really great information about that.
Well, you plant it when you can and when the soil is dry enough. If you wad up a handful of soil and squeeze it, and you drop it and it's still the same shape, it's too wet.
It's too wet to dig.
Sure.
And too wet, yeah.
For sure. This has been my favorite.
That's
this
so
year.
pretty, your Brighamania.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave it outside because it had so many blooms last fall, so I pulled it in here, and this is the second time it's bloomed this winter.
Well, I think that for people that are thinking about getting a greenhouse, this is a great idea to have it for wintertime because you can save these plants that usually you can't save.
Right, like that.
And this is the famous lemon.
So see, I want to show you how bad it looks, so that when I actually bring it back to life, you'll see how much better it looks.
Yeah, but look, even though it's got some insects, it's not looking the best, it's got flowers.
Yeah, it's been tucked away in the corner of the greenhouse all winter, and I haven't really done anything to it, other than water it once in a while.
Well, there you go.
Right.
But we're here in this greenhouse, but I think we need to go to the vegetable garden because things are happening out there, and we need to tell people some more information.
Yep, I've got a tree down that I didn't expect to come down, and a few other grapes and berries and things to look at.
Excellent. Well, let's go.
Okay.
So, Jan, was this plum tree a victim of that snow?
Yeah.
Aww.
Well, but it's a 70-year-old tree that's been reaching for light most of those years, and you see other plants, if they're reaching for light, that literally they need to move, which you're not going to move a tree like this. Right. But anyway, it came clear out really in a horizontal pattern, and then it reached out and got a lot of snow, a lot of wet snow, and it just snapped. I expected this tree to go over at some point. I just didn't know when.
Right. But an opportunity for something else, maybe a better position.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to take it out.
And then what about other pruning? Because we've had, even though the weather's been bad, we have lilacs that have bloomed, rhodies have bloomed, and so what do we want to do for those now that they've bloomed?
Anything that's spring blooming, after it's done blooming, then you can do the pruning because plants set their buds for the following year right then. So if you wait till the end of the summer to prune, you're pruning off buds that you would have for the following year.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Spring blooming plants get pruned after they bloom.
Okay, and then what about fruiting shrubs like caneberries, grapes? What about those if we're late?
Yeah, and I was really late this year, so we've got all the berries trained up now and all the dead stuff out, and the grapes got pruned sort of at the right time. But it's really, you know, if you got it to do, just go ahead and don't worry about the timing.
Right.
Just get done what you know needs to be done.
Yeah.
And if I missed the grapes completely, they'd grow,
Right.
and I'd probably have some grapes.
Sure,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
And then also we've noticed some hail damage. So what about that?
Well, not much you're going to do about it, other than if it's really bad, you can trim some off, but I would just let it go.
Okay. Yeah, just know what it is. It's not
Yeah.
a disease, it's
No,
not pests,
no,
it's not
right,
else like that.
exactly, exactly.
Well, you know, it has been rainy, it has been cool, but Jan told you that you can still get your vegetable garden in, you can still get your planting in. So all of the independent garden centers have these plants for you, the starts for you. So you can go out this weekend, you know, just watch the weather, because that's going to be your tell if it's too cold to put them in yet, but maybe get them, and then you have them for when that sunny break comes, and you can
Right.
get them in.
Right.
And then you're all set, and you'll still have a wonderful garden.
Yep.
Jan, thanks so much for everything.
All right, see you next month.
Since 1982, the Wall has been making local gardens beautiful, naturally. Whether you need a new wall, concrete patio, fire pit, or driveway, the Wall's expert craftsmen can build it. We back up our work with a 5-year warranty, so you'll know it'll last. We use the highest quality materials, including stamped colored concrete, natural stone, and we're the leader in using recycled concrete. Create an outdoor environment you'll enjoy for years, with the help of your friends at The Wall. Join Garden Time as we hit the road again. In September of 2022, we'll travel to Holland and Belgium. We'll visit the world-famous Aalsmeer flower auction, Flora World, the University Gardens of Ghent, and the Japanese Gardens of The Hague. We'll also visit the once-a-decade Floriade Expo, the World's Fair of Gardening. Enjoy the sights, sounds, and tastes of Ghent, The Hague, and Amsterdam on this wonderful tour. Go to Garden Time Tours for more information, and we'll see you in Europe.
Find everything you need for spring at Al's Garden and Home.
Create a beautiful living space both inside and out with the help of Terra Casa.
Outside, you'll find pottery, fountains, and decor to make your garden unforgettable.
And inside there are home furnishings and just the right accents to make your home warm, inviting, and most importantly, comfortable.
Terra Casa has a huge selection of merchandise to fit any home or budget. Plus, we still have all the unique and distinctive gifts that you have come to expect from Terra Casa.
Terra Casa in downtown Damascus.
I'm at Portland Nursery with Sarah. And so Sarah, we need to talk about today about pest control.
Yes.
It's sometimes we don't want to talk about it, but to have all the beautiful fruits and vegetables and flowers, sometimes you have to take care of pests.
Yes.
So what do you think?
Yes. I think it is the last thing we really want to talk about today. But I think that, first of all, we always recommend starting with just like barrier methods. So like put up some chicken wire, build a, for deer, if you get a little extreme, you build a fence or something. So chicken wire is just really helpful. You can line the bottom of your raised beds with chicken wire so moles can't get up and be eating your vegetables. Or we have to put up fencing every year around our vegetable garden because those bunnies just love to eat all of our stuff.
Sure.
So chicken wire is a great one. It can even work over like vines and different things that like squirrels might be getting into. Squirrels are really a big one with that you kind of need to keep out of things sometimes.
It's a challenge.
So it's really nice, just because you're talking about pest control doesn't mean you have to whip out the chemicals and all that right away.
Right, right. And so we do have some things here that they're all organic, and so we're going to talk first about those pesky slugs.
Yeah, so slugs are at the forefront of our mind, I think, right now, especially with all the wet weather that we've had. And this time of year, it seems like all of a sudden they just kind of explode.
Yes.
I actually really do love using beer traps. And copper tape. So if you have anything that's off the ground, you can use copper tape. They won't go over the copper.
Okay.
So that was a little bit hard to find in 2020 with some of the shortages. But I think it's pretty well fully stocked now. And beer traps, you don't have to, buy a special beer trap, which we do sell, but you can use an old yogurt container or something and then just put some cheap beer in there, and they really are attracted to the yeast. So
All right.
There are some other ways that we can do this without chemicals, but this is organic, so there's that. And the Sluggo Plus is great because it doesn't just get rid of the slugs, it gets rid of, we've got earwigs, cutworms, sow bugs, pill bugs, slugs, and snails.
Wow, so many more that it'll take care of.
Yeah, especially with the cutworms. You know, once you've kind of got a problem with those,
They come back.
yeah, they'll come and eat a lot of the stuff that you don't want them eating. So.
No, right. And that I think that's a great idea. So you're getting everything all at once, one
Yes.
application. And then we have Captain Jack's. And so I really like this one because of the spider mites. Because sometimes you cannot find a good spray for spider mites.
Spider mites can be really hard, and yeah, so we did pick things like each of these things is going to cover a lot of different pests, but specifically for spider mites, this one is just a really great option. Again, it's organic and easy to apply.
Right. So the Captain Jack's is great for spider mites and so from other creepy crawlies, but then we have this other one called Monterey BT.
Yeah, and we picked that one for the geranium budworm.
Okay.
Which, if you have had a problem with that one before, you are going to want to do something preventative because you're not going to want to have to deal with that all over again. So this would be a great preventative method for that.
And then what does that budworm do? What is the damage that you'd see?
Yeah, so it's going to go in and eat the buds of the flowers.
of
So
course.
it's going to just take the, you planted geranium that's for show, and it's going to go in there and make it so it's not so showy. Yeah.
And I see that it's for other caterpillars too, because I think that we think everything is going to be a beautiful butterfly, but sometimes those moths lay destructive caterpillars.
Right, and they can be causing all kinds of havoc, and so yes, this does work for caterpillars as well. So really there's a good coverage, but unless you're having a problem, like if you have a problem, give us a call. We can give you advice on what to use. Maybe there's a more targeted approach for whatever specifically you're dealing with. So it is something where, especially for pest management, we like to go with the least aggressive, and we can help guide people on that as well.
Right. And then this one is interesting because this is actually a trap, codling moth trap. So what do codling moths, what does that larva from the moths do?
Yeah, so they lay the larva and it goes into the apple and just kind of eats it from the inside out, and that's not very fun. For you get enough rotting apples with
you can't enjoy
the apple
it.
tree. So with this way, you set the trap, and that way it's completely not a chemical prevention, but you are. You told me it confuses the male.
It confuses the males. It's kind of funny, yeah, because it's a pheromone, and it just kind of it throws them off, so they don't mate, and so then there's no little baby caterpillars. And so then there's no damage.
Yeah, so it seems okay, not really hurting too many people, just too many
the moths.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this is the time to do it because it's going to be, everything's starting to flower, everybody's going to start getting active, and so then you can prevent it, and you're going to have all those apples for yourself.
Yes, as soon as you see the flower buds opening, you need to have these out there for prevention.
Yeah, definitely. So we all want beautiful flowers and beautiful fruit and vegetables. So you just have to do a little bit of work, a little bit of prevention to have all that beautiful things in your garden this year. So please come on down to Portland Nursery on Stark Street or in Division, and they really are knowledgeable people to help you solve those problems that might be in your garden this year. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Hi, I'm Sarah with Portland Nursery, where our passion for plants has kept us rooted in this incredible community. A lot has changed since we first opened our doors, but through it all, we've remained family-owned and operated, dedicated to providing our neighbors the largest selection of the highest quality plants Portland has to offer. With hundreds of new plants arriving each week, you're guaranteed to find something exciting and unique. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, at 50th and Stark, 90th and Division.
For over 100 years, Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts have provided tree and shrub care services to the Portland metropolitan area.
From large tree and small shrub pruning, tree removal, and stump grinding, we can handle all your tree care needs.
Our arborists diagnose and treat your toughest insect and disease problems.
We also have organic solutions for growing and maintaining healthy gardens, as well as organic nutrition for your trees and shrubs.
Collier and Bartlett, environmentally friendly since 1907.
DRAM is celebrating 75 years of design and manufacturing of quality watering tools. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
No matter what shade your green thumb is, you can find the plants and the help you need at Wavra Farms. We're filled with an astounding array of colorful plants to fill your garden. In addition to wonderful annuals and perennials, we are known for our hanging baskets. We also have all your garden essentials, and we have great garden gifts too. From beginner to expert, you'll find something new and different with every visit. Wavra Farms, located off Highway 22, exit 5, east of Salem.
I'm down here with Kevin Vaughn in your yard. Kevin, it's been several years since we've been down, and you're the breeder extraordinaire of sempervivums. So, last time we were down, we talked a lot about sempervivums, and there have been a huge craze. But now we're on to something bigger and better with the sempervivums.
Oh yes, for years we've had probably maximum 6-inch diameter sempervivum, but for the last, since I started breeding them in 2010 here, I've been crossing the biggest things with the biggest things. And not surprisingly, they got bigger.
And they are unbelievably bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the size of this.
So now we have what we call the giant strain. So these are about 10 to 12 inches in diameter at maturity. And we're getting all different colors in them as well. So we're picking up all the unique colors that we had in the smaller ones, but now in a much larger plant. And so now a northern gardener can do the same kind of xeric landscape that they do in California with succulents, the echeverias and plants like that, but now use something that's totally hardy. These are hardy to minus 20.
Which is unbelievable to get that.
Oh yeah. So, and any fool can grow these. I mean, Semps are probably the easiest plant to grow. I mean, as long as you have them in sun and fairly good drainage, they're going to be very happy and really just grow incredibly well.
Yeah. So the breeding and to get this size, do you have to wait a long time for this size, or is this?
No. So these are about. There was a chick put in a pot here probably 6 months ago. Yeah, something a little bigger than that. But and then 6 months later, it's already to that size.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive.
It is
growth for a season.
Yeah.
And so when you're breeding these, we're standing in front of this, this tapestry of colors, which is unbelievable in your breeding beds. How does the breeding kind of take place a little bit? How do you do that?
Okay, so of course these flower in the summer here, so you're not seeing the flowers now. So every day in the summer, I go out here and I bagged all the blossoms on these guys, and so I go out as soon as the pollen is ripe, usually about 9:30 in the morning. I go out and I make crosses, and then I gather the seed from those crosses in the fall, and that seed is put in pots. And if you see in that bed over there, they're like pinheads when they come up. They are just the tiniest and the worst thing to transplant, as you might imagine.
It looks like a tweezer job to me.
Right, exactly. And so, but I row them out very close to each other. So there's a bit of a kind of a Darwinian selection for the biggest and the most vigorous.
Right, because you look at these beds and they're definitely crammed in there tight.
Exactly.
And so that's where you're crossing out and finding the biggest of the biggest, and then going on.
So they go from that stage there to this in 1 year, which is this is pretty amazing. Anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And then you begin. So what I do is go through these beds of seedlings now, pick out the ones with interesting markings or colors. And we're also selecting for things that have color year-round. The old Semps, they'd have color for a few months and then they go kind of green and bland. Now the ones we're selling stay these wonderful colors year-round, so which is really a boon to the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then these are all part of the Chick Charm line, that Chris Hansen has put out.
Right.
And Gold Nugget is one of those that we've been learned about over the last several years.
This is the big version.
And this is the big new and improved Gold Nugget.
Right. This is Gold Mine, which is a Gold Nugget cross another Semp called Killer, and Killer gave it the size and the vigor. And so that cross was a really good one in terms of making Gold Nugget a much bigger plant and a much more, lot more increases than Gold Nugget generally has.
And so you've been working on these a little bit, and it's kind of exciting now because they're just now starting to hit the market.
Right, yeah. And so there's several of the local nurseries here in Oregon have these. Chris did a very limited release of these. There was only about 150,000 he sold this first year just to see what the interest was. And there was lots of interest.
I would imagine with the size of the sempervivum like that,
yeah.
Just so different that this is definitely going to be kind of the next wave of the sempervivums.
Yeah, no, he was shocked at the response. Yeah. And so there'll be a whole series of these coming out now, all giants and all different colors. And just
seeing the teaser of what's in this bed and what is yet to come is pretty exciting.
Yes.
So, if you're looking for something new and different and large and the color's unbelievable, make sure you start checking out the new series of these. Check your independent garden centers because they are coming soon. So, Kevin, it's been great to be out here, and it's really inspiring to see your beds.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, the rain is over for the last month, and we were into some sunshine, so we were into ice cream now.
Yeah.
I am at Salt and Straw on 23rd with Tyler, so it's so wonderful to be here because you are this creative genius behind all of these flavors out here at Salt and Straw.
Yeah, so we have so fun, and at Salt and Straw we change our menu every single month. So the first Friday of every month we launch a new menu, and this month is spring.
Ah, yay.
So we want to hearken in the May flowers. So we did a whole menu based off of eating your own flowers, and really kind of leaning into floral flavors and literally in some cases edible flowers themselves.
That is so cool because are you a gardener? Because we're a garden show, and so it's like ice cream and flowers. It's something different.
Yeah, and for me too, from a culinary perspective, I think flowers, it literally is the first crop we get in a restaurant, right? Like we're so like all winter we're just eating root vegetables and thinking of new ways to cook mushrooms and squash, and all of a sudden in spring we get this fresh bouquets of edible flowers and some of the first young shoots of different ingredients, and so we have fun with those kind of flavors and playing with them right now.
And this isn't something really new. You kind of add these flower flavors, and it's like 11 years that you've been doing this flower power.
Yeah, I love this theme in particular of flower ice creams. I just fallen in love with it. It was one of the first menus we ever did at Salt and Straw because there's something so provocative about it, like eating flowers. I think is just it incites this intrigue for people. And then as you eat through these flavors, they just kind of take you on a journey, and they're so bright and naturally beautiful for the kind of fresh new sun we have this season.
It is, and the colors are so wonderful. So I wonder if you can touch on them really quickly, and then maybe we can talk about maybe more in depth.
Yeah, of course. So, I love one of our new flavors, and the first time we've ever done this is a saffron ice cream. It's just a pure saffron. We actually make a saffron cream out of using saffron, a little bit of marigold flour, and then some honey, and all of that steeps together and creates this really, really beautiful, dense kind of flavor.
And then rhubarb. I think a rhubarb is favorite for so many people.
I know. Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, we had to have rhubarb in here. For this, I paired it with a fresh anise. And we toast the anise till it almost caramelizes.
Wow.
And so you get that really rich flavor out of the anise seeds. And then combined with rhubarb, it almost makes this kind of rhubarb crumble.
Ah, neat. And then this one's really interesting with jasmine tea.
Yeah, I love this one because this is actually a really cool partnership that we have with a partner in San Francisco. So it's this tea company called Red Blossom Tea, one of the most exclusive tea companies you'll ever find. Her tea is epic, and if you grew up in San Francisco, if you've traveled there, you'll know that this is one of the most renowned tea companies in the world, and it's so beautiful. It just it soothes your soul.
Man.
So I think you're gonna love that one.
And it's cool because you're really known for working with local people, be it other cities, but really here too in the Northwest.
Yeah, so we started in Portland, obviously, but as we've grown, we've tried to allow some of the cities that we work in to kind of add their own personality to our flavors.
Neat. And let's do the end one because we'll come back to that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll skip to pistachio. We really wanted to do a pistachio flavor. This is this with the saffron. You're kind of leaning into especially more Persian flavors. So we wanted to do a really bright, intense kind of pistachio ice cream that has almost like that gelato feel to it.
Wow.
We paired that with rose water, which inherently can have a lot of, almost overwhelm your taste buds, but we made a butter mochi with strawberries. So it's first of the season strawberries that we marble into a butter mochi. And butter mochi is, it's more of like cake than it is mochi, but it's made with mochi powder, and so it's got this chew to it, but it's still got that kind of lightness of a fresh baked cake.
Oh, wow. And then talk about this hibiscus, because you have another great partner in that one.
Yeah, this is my favorite flavor of the month, honestly, because of the story that was behind it. We started partnering with Matilda's Kitchen about 3 years ago, and she's so cool. She's based here in Portland, and then started making this syrup and becoming really well known for this soda syrup that's a hibiscus base with some ginger and some spices.
Wow.
It's one of the most classic foods from her homeland, where she grew up in Haiti, and it is so beautiful. We literally don't do much to it. We just take her syrup, hibiscus syrup, and add a touch of coconut cream and put it in our ice cream machine, and it comes out this beautiful texture. It's one of those flavors that as it melts in your mouth, it just tells a story, you know, so.
So Tyler, now I want them all, but which one should I start first?
Oh my gosh, I think you have to start with this hibiscus ice cream. It's vegan, and it's so good. It really just melts in your mouth.
And you're trying the pistachio?
I'm gonna start with the pistachio.
Oh, wow, that is really lovely, very lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, so really, how many stores do you have across the United States now?
So we just opened our 27th in Disney World. We started growing out in Florida in 2020. So we've been kind of slowly growing out there. It's been this huge honor to grow and to slowly kind of bring our story to the entire country.
That is cool. And really, you're iconic here. People, you're on that list of when foodies come. It's like, we have to go to Salt and Straw. And so,
thank you.
And now you're going to have another store on West Side.
Yeah, so I mean, we've been open here in Portland for 11 years. And we've been so honored because honestly, it's become, you know, we've slowly become kind of ingrained in the food industry. And I think what it is, you know, we're changing our menu every month, and it means there's always a new story. There's always something fun to learn about at Salt and Straw. And so we're finally able to grow out towards Beaverton. We're going to be opening in Cedar Hills this summer, and it's kind of, you know, sending a little bit of love to out towards Beaverton.
That is great. You know, there's so many different Salt and Straws around the city that you can go to. There's no excuse not to get there and try some of these flower flavors. It's really something, and so, you know, near and dear to our hearts because we're gardeners.
Oh, thank you.
But thank you for doing that, because it's like you are really going out there. You're like on that edge of culinary, but bringing in flowers to it. So that's really so cool. So thank you, and thank you for all the future ones. We're so excited about
it's welcome in spring.
More. Definitely, definitely. So really, come out this summer, and really even before summer, and you can always go to the new store in Beaverton. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much for all these lovely things.
Oh, thank you. It's so fun.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Start your new Subaru story at Capital Subaru. We are like nothing else. From the moment you step through these doors, you see it, you feel it. We do things differently here. Our people, our culture, our customer experience. Tell us what you're looking for, and we'll upgrade the way you shop for Subarus. When you're just browsing, need great service, or starting your next adventure, we're always here for you. It's your story at Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature blooming advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
For 95 years and 4 generations, Shriners Gardens has been hybridizing and growing award-winning iris. With the largest selection available, Shriners Gardens' online catalog hosts hundreds of varieties from classic bearded iris, reblooming and fragrant iris, dwarf iris, and more. Also available online, hybrid daylilies. Shriners Gardens, bringing a rainbow of color to gardens everywhere since 1935. Online at shrinersgardens.com.
I am surrounded by a woodland, beautiful place. I'm at Bosque Dells with Lori, and Lori, I love coming here because you feel like you're in a woodland, but I'm really in a city, so it's really a nice respite here.
Good, thank you. That's exactly what we were aiming for.
And I love coming because you have all these vignettes to show people how to plant in their gardens to create that kind of look. And so today we're going to talk about trees that are kind of like the bones of that little vignette. So what do you have there?
This is Western red cedar. This is referred to oftentimes as the tree of life. It ultimately is a really large conifer. It's great for privacy from a neighbor's house or erosion control. Wildlife benefit from it, and it's beautiful too.
It is nice. That is so pretty. And then this one has got all this new growth. It's so beautiful.
This is the Western hemlock, and it's another conifer that gets really big. And once again, it's great for privacy and for wildlife. In the base of it, we have a sword fern. That's how you would often see it growing in the real world. And you can do a combination of these trees along the edge of your property if you have enough room to create an amazing privacy screen.
That is nice, and it's something that you would see on a hike if you were out in the rural areas and the woodland areas of Oregon.
Yeah, you would. It's exactly what you would see.
And some of us, though, have smaller gardens, so really you have a tree that could fit in a smaller space.
Well, another tree I really enjoy landscaping with is the mountain hemlock. So it's in the same family as the Western hemlock, but its growth habit is the exact opposite. It's sort of like nature's bonsai. It grows about 1/4 to 1/2 inch a year. So when you do purchase one, you actually want to get one that's about the size you want it to be. They're really beautiful in groupings of some odd number where you stagger the height. They're often used for prominent spots like the entrance to your house or the backdrop of a pond. But they're really a lot of fun to landscape with.
And they always have some interesting shapes to them. Sometimes they have little kind of just angles to them, and I really love that look because it just looks even more natural.
Well, one person may look at a tree and say, oh, that is magnificent. But another person might look at the same tree and say, that's a Charlie Brown tree. I don't know what you see in that. So the beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder. I, too, like the ones that are gnarly and look like they have a story to tell. But
it's so true. Everyone has a different idea.
Yeah.
Very true.
But they're really beautiful trees.
Definitely. And so we've been talking about conifers, but here is a maple. So really there's all kinds of trees available.
So this is our native vine maple, and technically it's a shrub, although I think of it as being tree-like because its mature height is 25 to 30 feet tall. And it's often, but not always, multi-trunked. And it too can offer a tremendous amount of privacy, and it stays quite a lot smaller than these larger conifers. So if you don't have enough room for a conifer, a vine maple could be a good choice for both beauty and privacy. They also have beautiful fall color, oranges and reds in the fall, but 9 months out of the year it can give you complete privacy from your neighbor's house.
Yeah, it really is a nice plant to have, and having a multi-stem tree is really something different to have too.
Plus, you can prune it to fit your space as well. So if it grows a little bit too far one direction or another, you can just selectively give it a haircut.
Well, as you can tell, Lori is a font of information and knowledge, and this place is just so beautiful to come to. So please go to gardentime.tv and click over to their website and come out to Bosque Dells and see all these beautiful trees. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
DRAM is celebrating 75 years of design and manufacturing of quality watering tools. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
Come to where the color is. Come to Egan Gardens. We've worked hard growing healthy plants for you so that your gardening is easy. Add sparkle to your garden with our perennials, container plants, and skillfully designed baskets and planters.
Stop and get a mood lifter out here on the farm. We have lots of fresh air and lots of space. There's lots of blooming plants, new vegetable starts, shrubs, and berry bushes.
Egan Gardens, where it's all about the plants. We're located west of I-5 at exit 263 on River Road.
At Sagawa Nursery, we always talk about taking your garden from ordinary to extraordinary. For us, that means bringing you the newest and best plants and unique garden items to you, our customer. For you, that means we'll help you transform your garden into something that's extraordinary. We also have some great gift items and even a few surprises for inside your home too. Sagawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
Well, we're back down here at Garland Nursery. I'm with Lee. Lee, last time you were down here, you were talking with Judy about some great plants that can go in the sun or the shade.
Yes.
And, you know, there's just so many of them that you found a whole nother collection of some of your favorites.
Surprise, surprise. I
Right.
came up with another cartload of plants for
Right?
you. So do you want me to just get into it?
Let's hop in and see what else we
All right,
found.
so we'll start on this side. We've got a hydrangea called Ruby Slippers. And this is an oak leaf hydrangea, which is quite a bit different from what people traditionally think of as hydrangeas. And this will get, it has the oak-like leaf, it'll get a panicle-shaped flower that starts creamy white and ends up going ruby red.
Oh, pretty.
Later in the summer. In the full sun, the hydrangeas do require a little more water than they would in the full shade.
Okay.
So, you know, make sure you give it some summer water and it'll look good. It'll have great fall color as well.
Great. And then it looks like down in the front, we'll just work our way over here.
We've got a geum down here. Those will grow in sun or shade. So this is Tempo Rose,
okay.
But there are a lot of different varieties of geum that will work in sun or shade. In the shade, heavy shade, they're not going to bloom quite as well. The foliage will still look great, and they'll get a smattering of blooms. In the sun, they're going to be very floriferous.
And it's another one of those perennials, you kind of deadhead them or prune it back,
Yep.
you might get a flush of bloom.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Okay.
Some of them actually have been bred so they'll continue to bloom all summer long if you keep deadheading them.
Gotcha.
So.
And it looks like a...
This is the glossy Angelica, and it'll grow in sun or shade. In the sun, the green will fade out just a little bit. In the shade, it'll be just this dark, lustery foliage. And then the blooms are really cool on this, these giant blooms. The foliage fades a little bit after it blooms anyway, but it's one that it makes a statement and will grow in either sun or shade.
Very pretty.
Next one.
Carex.
Carex, yeah, this one's called Feather Falls. Yeah. A lot of the different varieties of Carex will grow in sun or shade. It's one of those that you do need to get them water in the sun a little more than you would in the shade. This one's I brought because it's really interesting. It really cascades kind of nicely. Longer foliage, curly foliage, looks great in containers or hanging out over rocks or that type of thing.
And it's good year round too.
It is, yeah, and it's evergreen.
Right.
Yep.
And it'll pop back to, it looks like an Itea.
Yeah, this one's Itea Sweet Spire. This one is Little Henry. And it only gets 2 to 3 feet high. The bigger ones, like there's a regular Henry that gets, 4 or 5 feet. And this is great because it gets flowers this time of year. Great fall color that hangs on for a long time. It will grow in sun or shade, a little fewer blooms, and the habit will be looser in the shade.
Which is something important to remember as we're planting these, that your growth habit might be a little bit different in the sun or shade.
Absolutely. I've got Tuscan Flame Nandina. Nandina I use quite a bit in designs where I know that it's going to be shady at some point in time, but it's full hot sun right now. They're really durable, great new growth on them, colored new growth, great winter color. This one gets 2 to 3 feet tall. It's deer resistant, fairly drought resistant once established. So it's a real tough plant.
Gotcha. And it looks like a spirea.
This is a spirea. This one is Betulifolia tor, so birch leaf spirea tor. It blooms white this time of year. Will grow in sun or shade. It'll have fewer blooms in the sun, but the foliage will look actually better in the shade. Great habit, good tough plant.
Do a lot of the spireas handle sun or shade? Or
yes, spireas, quite a few of them will handle a good bit of shade as well.
Okay. And then you like a nice golden, the Mexican orange?
Yeah, this is Gold Fingers. So it's a newer variety to us here at Garland Nursery. And it has the gold foliage. In the heat of summer outside in the full sun, it will be very gold. If you have it in a shady spot, it'll be more of a chartreuse green. Okay. It's still beautiful, but definitely a change in colors depending upon the sun exposure.
It looks like the foliage is a little lacier than what we've...
Yes, the regular Mexican orange is going to have a little thicker leaf.
Okay.
So.
And then, you know, a lot of people recognize this one.
Yes. This is Salal. I decided I better throw in a native. A lot of the natives will actually grow in the sun or the shade. Right. This one looked particularly nice. The Salals don't always look great when you have them in containers at a nursery, but we happen to have this beautiful one, and I thought I'd bring it and show it.
Right, and I've seen some of those in the sun. They do tend to stay more compact.
Yeah,
right?
This will be like 2 to 3 feet in the full hot sun, and if you have it in the shade, it'll probably be 5 or 6 feet tall, or can be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it looks like the last guy up there.
Yeah,
like
the last one is a yew, and this one is Emerald Spreader. It's a Japanese yew, so it'll stay low, like 2 feet tall, maybe 8 feet wide eventually.
Okay.
And it'd be a little richer green in the shade, a little lighter green in the sun, but does great in either very drought resistant, which is quite nice, you know, under trees in the shade. It's, you're not going to have to water it much.
Okay.
So.
And you know, you commented earlier about, you know, the planting, you know, something in the sun versus the shade. What are some good tips, you know, if to do this, that they need to watch out for?
Yeah, I would watch out for, even if it's a shade plant and you're planting in a full hot sun, I would still avoid putting it like right against a south or west facing wall of a house, or in between like 2 concrete areas where you have that reflected heat. So it'd be the full sun more out in the landscape.
Okay.
And then as far as the shade goes, just know that the form's going to be a little bit different. You're not going to have quite as many flowers. So,
and will water needs?
Water needs for the shade plants in the sun usually need more water in the summer to keep them looking nice and perked up. Yeah.
Gotcha. You know, so you have a great selection, a lot of really good ideas for, you know, those mixed areas in your yard that can be totally tough. So it's nice to have a lot of variety.
Oh yeah.
Down here and all. You know, so make sure you come down to Garland Nursery. You can go to gardentime.tv, or you can go to Garland's website, or come down to the nursery and visit Lee and their knowledgeable staff. And they have a great selection, you know, a plant for every place. So thanks, Lee.
Thank you, Ryan.
It's time for a plant adventure. Come visit the nurseries of the Cascade Nursery Trail, a collection of independent, specialty nurseries full of wonderful plants that deserve a visit.
We have a cure for your spring garden fever. Visit all the members of the Cascade Nursery Trail during our 3-day extravaganza during Memorial Day weekend. Find plants you won't see anywhere else.
Start your perfect plant safari at cascadenurserytrail.com.
For 90 years, Espoma has one guiding principle: develop the finest organic gardening products that work in harmony with nature, grow beautiful gardens, and make a greener world for the future. From our soil products to our plant foods, we have always been committed to the environment and sustainability. We use a vast array of natural and organic ingredients and package them in our 100% solar-powered plant. Look for the quality line of Espoma products at your local independent garden center. Espoma, organic from the beginning.
Peonies, bold and beautiful, an old favorite, but ever new, and perfect for your garden. At Adelman Peonies, you'll find hundreds of different peonies, bush, ito, and tree peonies covering 20 acres. Come stroll the display garden, then find a special plant or bouquet to take home. Join us any day of the week for beautiful color or weekends for special events. Adelman Peonies is just east of I-5 at exit 263 on Brook Lake Road, or online at peonyparadise.com.
Garland Nursery, a must-stop destination for those that want to play with plants and grow with their garden. Whether you are a new or a seasoned gardener, Garland Nursery can help fulfill your gardening desires and your landscape needs. From organic veggies, trees and shrubs, to colorful blooms, from the newest trends in garden supplies and garden decor. Shop Garland Nursery to find that perfect plant or piece that fills you and your garden with delight. It's always a beautiful day at Garland Nursery.
Well, we're out the Lansu Chinese Gardens, and I'm with Justin. And Justin, we come down to the gardens often and view the beautiful flowers, you know, throughout the seasons. But there's so much more to the gardens, isn't there, as far as symbolism?
Yeah, I mean, plants are represented everywhere in the garden, not just the physical form of the plant. We see it in the architecture, we see it in the pathways, we also see it in the poetry. So in just about every element of the garden, plant is represented.
And and as we're walking through the gardens, what kind of areas or where should we be looking, besides just the actual plants?
So when you first walk into the garden, if you look up to the roof gable of our four-sided pavilion, you'll see a pomegranate and a peach in the architecture. And the peach is a representative of longevity. And unfortunately, we don't have any peaches in the garden, but also we have a pomegranate represented, and that is a representative and a symbol of fertility. And we actually do have a couple of pomegranates in the garden as well.
And in walking through some of these courtyards, you see a lot of stonework on the grounds. And what kind of symbolism is that showing?
So if you go to our fragrance courtyard area of the garden, the stone design in the pathway is of a lotus. And lotus are, they bloom in the summer, they grow in the water, and so therefore that courtyard is a symbol of summer. And then when we walk into the scholars courtyard after that, we have the opposite. We have plum blossoms falling on cracked ice is the motif on the pathway there. And you can see this almost looks like a modern design, but it's actually a very, very old classic design of these plum blossoms that have fallen and cracked the ice, bringing in spring and putting an end to winter.
Interesting. And and there's various spots throughout the garden of these little rooms and little vignettes that you're looking through windows and cutouts, and there's symbolism in there too.
Yes. So our leek windows are throughout the garden, and there's hundreds of different designs in those. We have hollyhock, we have camellia, we have peony, just to name a few. And so just about every single one of them is unique, and they filter your view from one part of the garden to another, so that you have this illusion of more space, and to know that there's more to see just around the corner.
And you had mentioned too, talked about poetry, and how poetry is kind of a big part of the gardens, how some of the symbolism may tie in with poetry.
Well, this is a scholar's garden, and the scholar in the Ming Dynasty would have been a poet, a calligrapher, an artist, as well as a politician. And so the poetry would be represented throughout the garden as an element that you must have. And also it talks about what is either in the garden or what is in nature. So it reminds you that you're either in the mountains, or reminds you of something you're about to see. We have poetry that talks about the plums when they're in bloom, and we have poetry that talks about the pine and the bamboo. So we're always kind of reminded of that there's a connection between not just the living plant, but the other elements as well.
And as people are walking through, they may miss a lot of these elements if they don't know what to look for. So if somebody's to take a tour of the gardens, what is the best way for them to kind of know where all this meaning is, and how to find it?
Right now we have a new app called Discover Lansu, and you can download it either before your visit, or there's a QR code you can point your phone at. And so we have some audio tours and some video tours of the garden that talk about a lot of the elements that I'm talking about right now.
Very nice. So there's just so much more to the gardens than you might not, interpret just walking around. The flowers on the plants are, stunning. Every season is something different and blooming. But there's just so much more that you can do at the gardens. So make sure you visit the Lansu website, or you can go to garden.tv for more information and experience the full beauty of the gardens. So appreciate it, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Occasionally, the Garden Time show experiences a blip and doesn't air correctly on the TV stations.
Other times, we hear from viewers that they miss the show because of vacations or other commitments.
There's nothing to worry about. You can find all of our shows and stories on the Garden Time YouTube channel.
If you go to the gardentime.tv website, you can find a link to our YouTube channel in the upper right-hand corner. On our channel, you can find the individual stories and the entire program, so you will never miss an episode or story. If you miss a detail, you can watch them over again.
So don't worry if you miss an episode. You can still get all of that great Garden Time information on our Garden Time YouTube channel.
Find everything you need for spring at Al's Garden and Home.
Surround yourself with wonderful color this summer. It's time for the annual spring sale at Hydrangeas Plus. Hydrangeas are the perfect plant for any garden, large or small. We are cleaning out our nursery, so come and take some plants home to your garden. We're offering special once-a-year pricing on nearly everything we grow. Also, check out our selection of grasses and other blooming perennials. It's the annual spring sale at Hydrangeas Plus.
Since 1929, Grimm's Fuel has powered great gardens around our area. With our comprehensive composting and yard debris services, we can apply quality garden mulch, compost, and blended soils with our experienced crews and trucks, including our landscape rock and bark products as well. We are proud of our industry-leading state-of-the-art composting facilities. We also can take care of your fuel oil and firewood needs. Grimm's Fuel, building great gardens since 1929.
Hey everybody, Brian Bauman from Bauman's Farm and Garden, and this beauty is one of our custom hanging baskets that one of our customers created, and I am blown away. This is absolutely beautiful. It features our brand new salvia hummingbird balls. And right now at the farm, we have it available in 6-inch, so you can create your own masterpiece with this salvia. The hummingbirds will love you. But in addition to this one, we have other salvias that are spectacular. The tried and true variety is Hot Lips. Hot Lips is that wonderful salvia that really made me fall in love with salvias. It blooms all summer, drought tolerant, all the wildlife loves it. It's a great salvia. Last year, we added a new color to the series. This is Amethyst Lips. It's a darker colored salvia with still that white throat and the lips on the end of it. And finally, this year we have a brand new one, Cherry Lips. It's kind of almost in between the other two colors. I can't really choose which one I'm gonna have at my garden, so I'll probably have all four. Come out to the farm, pick your favorite salvia, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Well, yes, spring is not here right now, but eventually we're going to be into warmer weather. Summer's going to be here, and diseases. So I'm with Tom Combs from Bonide, and so Tom, we want to get ahead of all this. We want to be prepared, and you have two really great products for us that'll help us combat all that.
Yeah, we sure do. And gosh, it's cold, right?
It's cold.
Here we are, early May, and we're in coats. So, so I do have some very good natural/organic pesticides. The one in your hand is our long-standing, very effective neem oil, okay? I call that kind of old science, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then the one I have in my hand is the new neem. It's called Neem Max, and it has some wonderful new technology in the way we process the neem oil. And we'll get to that and both of those here in a second.
All right, and so neem, tell us about it a little bit. It's from a plant,
Yep.
So really it's natural.
It is natural. It comes from the neem tree. Specifically, the oil is from the neem seed. And so to get the oil, there's two ways to extract it. There is a heat extraction, which is this one here, the neem oil. We call that hydrophobic neem oil. The trouble is when you heat something, you lose a lot of things, right? So in this case, in the neem oil, this is just an oil. Very good suffocating mode of action for insects and diseases. And then the new technology, our scientists from the global company have discovered a way to cold press the neem kernel. And when you cold press it, you get the oil, you get something called luminoids and azadirachtin, and there are huge natural biological benefits from a cold press versus the heat extraction.
And I think that we can understand that a little bit better in our kitchen because of olive oil. The cold press is so much more flavorful and just better for us.
Very good. Good comparison. So with the Neem Max, the cold press, you get a 4-in-1, right? So you get insect control, you get mite control, predator nematodes, and there's also very good fungicidal properties in this. So 4-in-1, virtually any plant anywhere, indoors and out. Vegetable plants here behind us. I have some annuals and perennials in the greenhouse. All are on the label. So some common insects, mites, aphids, borers, chewing insects like caterpillar. The geranium budworm is a big one for the Northwest. And then you move into the predator nematodes in the soil. So foliar application and also a drench. So you can do a soil drench, potted plants, or raised beds, or out in the landscape. And then lastly, very, very effective preventative fungicide. So when I think what's going to happen here in the next 60 days, powdery mildew on many of our plants, especially roses, our squash, also very effective on anthracnose, red thread, and the list just goes on and on.
Wow. And you know, I think that in our sheds, in our garden sheds and things, we want one product to kind of do everything and make it easy. And so you just kind of put this into solution, spray it or drench, and you're done.
Yep. So this one, the one in your hand, is ready to use. And then the Neem Max will come in 2 sizes. This is the 8-ounce. This will make, believe it or not, 10 gallons of finished spray. And then we have a pint, a 16-ounce, that'll do 20 or make 20 gallons of finished spray.